Okay, good morning. I am here in my favorite spot in the house, and I just was gonna do a little talking about what's going on today and this weekend. So yesterday we had a big outing to my favorite vegetable stand, and I picked up a ton of vegetables. I mean, as you know, if you have seen any garden content, we had a good asparagus crop and a really good strawberry crop this year, but we're not really growing anything else that we can harvest yet. Deer got the apples, the horseradish isn't well established enough, there's really nothing else for us to eat. And also, we love to support local farmers. So I have a bunch of stuff and I'll show you everything that we got. But right now, I am sitting out here with a half a bushel of green beans, and I'm gonna snip these while I watch TV. I've got the beans here. This is my container for snips, and then the bin for the beans to go in. I use scissors for this job. I'm not gonna film any more of this. Okay, I'll catch up with you when I'm done. So here are the green beans that I just finished. There were quite a few little teeny ones, but these are the only ones I want for this. So we'll do something else with those little ones. And here's the rest of the stuff that we got from the farmer's market. So this is a quart of habanero peppers, and then 6 pounds of pears. Just these leeks, this is all they had. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those yet. The beans, this was a half a bushel. Here's a whole bushel of tomatoes, and then I think this is a peck of carrots. These are destined to become pickles, so I don't care at all that they're big. In fact, like these big fat guys make really nice pickles. So that is what we've got going on here. Okay, it is still Saturday. I finished cleaning the green beans, and let's see, it's about 11:30. Okay. So there's Chris, he's setting up. There's the flock, they're waiting. Let's get going. I am here in the workroom, just putting together our bin for what's going on today. So today, the plan is to, like I said, give them a booster dose of this vaccine. This is what the thing looks like. We don't have the gun thing that this slots into, so we need some syringes and needles. We have a bunch of used needles here. I'm just gonna check those. We've had a rough season. We've had a lot of, can you hear the yelling? We've had a lot of, anyway, the vet's been here. So we're gonna use these 3 mil because, wait, how much are these actually? Now that I think about it, I don't remember what the dose is. It's 5 mil, so we need a bigger syringe. Okay, so I only have the 3 mil and then these 20s. So put a fresh 20 in there. Oh, this paint feels empty. That's garbage. So these are the needles we use. So I'm just cleaning out used needles out of here. It's not like you don't need to change a needle for every animal, but they do get dull, these little teeny guys, so it's just easier to change it every so often. And then we need some spray paint, green and purple spray paint for today. Okay, and then we've got one lamb out there who's acting very itchy. Itchiness can be a very early sign of something called the deer fluke or deer worm. So I did the reading last night that in the material that they gave us when we took the parasite management class, and they said to use this dewormer that's not labeled for sheep. So Chris picked up some this morning, and we are going to do that. And also, we are also going to give him a shot of dexamethasone, which is also part of the treatment protocol. This is a difficult to treat worm, and unfortunately it's something that's very popular in this area where we grow parasites really well. We are realizing that our old farm was so much easier parasite wise. Okay, so that seems set. Okay, this is some very difficult footage for me to watch. The day was so frustrating. So I cut I don't know, I cut a ton of footage down to like whatever this is. The first time lambs go through the system, they're afraid, they're a little bit stressed. They just need to learn that they just have to walk up the ramp and it's not scary. But it takes forever to get them through, and we didn't have a great start. And honestly, this is why this video is late, because it was so hard for me to watch this footage. Okay, good morning. It's Sunday morning. So yesterday, things got a little away from us. I'm still getting used to this new camera. It died at some point during, while we were vaccinating lambs, and I hadn't brought the other battery out with me. It is something that I know about, that the battery life isn't great, but yeah, I just kind of had never tested it. Also, things went... Our sheep are just a little wilder than a lot of sheep. And so getting them through the system, especially with lambs, is not the easiest thing ever. The lambs are still small enough to turn around when they're in the runway, and it makes the work hard. And it is getting the biggest lambs. Well, we weighed the one we called Joey yesterday, and he was 40 kilos, so 88 pounds. So they're still pretty small and compact, and they can turn around, but they also are pretty heavy. So, you know, manhandling them isn't as easy as you would think based on looking at them. So, yeah, so we got them through. It only took a couple hours, but it was a physical job. Yeah, so then we hit the pool a little bit to cool off, and then I got back in the kitchen and kind of worked on this canning situation all day. So I'll show you what I did. This is all the same from yesterday. I haven't done anything with those, the peppers or the pears, but we washed and cleaned all the carrots, and I cleaned all the green beans, or I snipped all the green beans. So those are ready to go. This is tomato puree. This is half of a bushel. So that's in a 20-quart stock pot, just to give you an idea of size. So the way that I do tomatoes is just tomato puree. And the reason I do that is just because it's the most versatile thing for us. You can turn that into like an Italian pasta sauce, or you can go Mexican, or you can go super stew. So right now, like, I'm not making any decisions right now. I'm just getting the tomatoes put away for whatever I'm in the mood for later. Traditionally, you would cook the tomatoes and then put them through a food mill. I have one of those. So this is a food mill. This isn't an expensive one. Nicer ones have discs, so you can change the size of the puree that you're making. This would take approximately 9,000 hours for me to put all these tomatoes through there. And I have done it before because I wanted to know if it was better. And all I got was like a big old bicep. So the way I do it is I put all the cooked tomatoes into a high-powered blender on high, and it really like shreds all of those skins and pulverizes all the seeds until they're super, super fine, and you could never find them again. And then it goes back in that pot to be cooked down to the consistency we want. I don't want to be canning really watery puree, just because we don't need to can water. We get it out of the well. So I'm gonna cook this until it's about the thickness of like a store-bought like marinara sauce, and then I'll get canning. And in the meantime, I am gonna pack the jars for the green beans and carrots. Cold packing just means that you put the vegetables in the jar, or the fruit or whatever, cold, uncooked, clean and raw. This makes for like the crispiest pickles you're gonna get with a traditional canning process. Carrots and green beans do really well in the refrigerator. They make it like a beautiful, really crispy treat. But due to my orthodontia, those are off limits for me. So we're gonna process them this year. The tomato puree is ready to go. So I am just gonna walk through kind of the process. I have a big canner. This is the rack for it. These jars have been sanitized via the dishwasher. Okay, so that's what that looks like bubbling away. And then here I have a little butter warmer with lids and water in it that's softening those rims up. And then here's my canner. It's got like a stained rim because we have hard water. We always have hard water, so don't freak out. I am just getting ready to fill the first batch of jars. I have a couple of canning tools. You don't have to have these, but it can make it easier. For one thing, the most important thing is this. So it will grab a jar like this to pull it out of the bath after you've reached the processing time. This is a pretty critical one. I don't know if I would attempt it without that. Well, I wouldn't attempt multiple batches. I would just let it cool in the water if I didn't have this. And this is a little magnet on a stick that I use to get those lids out of the warm water, hot water. And then this is not a tool that I need, but it usually comes with the other two, and it's a gauge for the amount of headspace that you're supposed to leave. So in this case, I'm gonna leave a 1/2 inch of headspace. So that's the second notch. There. So you're supposed to just like pop it down on the jar like this to see. Again, not necessary. You can eyeball 1/2 inch. I mean, I have faith in you. A funnel and a ladle, the most important things. So in this case, this tomato puree, I think in all cases, needs to be hot packed. So that means that the liquid or the food needs to be simmering when it goes into the jar. And the reason for that is you don't want a temperature shock when you go into the water bath. Water bath canning is good for foods that are very acidic or foods that have a lot of sugar in them because both of those conditions inhibit bacterial growth. So you just have to heat them to boiling, to the temperature that water boils for a period of time, and then they should be safe for 12 months. In order to ensure, without a pH meter, that these tomatoes are acidic enough to be canned, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice to every jar before I put the tomato puree in. So this is my gauge to see if I filled it to the proper headspace. And that looks perfect to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lid with my little magnet grabber. And that's that. So that's ready to go in the rack. Okay, so this is not for the faint of heart. Okay, woof. Okay, so the jars need to be covered by a minimum of 1 inch of water. And you know, I wish there were like graduations on the pot to show like, you know, how full to fill it, that if you put in all these quarts, it will be, you know, the right depth when you put them in. And I just got away. I thought there was going to be like a flood, and you know how like when water hits the gas burner, it like flames up and the whole kitchen burns down. I thought that was going to happen, but it looks like I judged it. Whew. Okay, so these babies are going to process for 40 minutes. Just like this at a simmer. I did want to say a couple things about canning produce, and it is that you don't need perfect produce for this, right? Like the tomato that you would slice up to put on a sandwich this is not that tomato. You know, what you want are your uggos. These guys are kind of ugly, so I just trimmed that off. The first batch I did also looked like this, and it really was just the skin affected. None of them really had any damage inside. This looks like insect damage to me, really. Okay, it's Sunday afternoon. September 1st. I spent most of the morning working on some canning. I do have some footage of that, and then I took a little nap, and now Chris and I are getting ready to check fence lines. This is long overdue. It's been a crazy year. We use these powered 4-gallon sprayers, so we are just filling these up now. So the purpose of this is twofold. We just need to check the whole perimeter fence just to see if there's any evidence of anybody digging under. And then we're also gonna spray an herbicide to kill all the weeds around the fence line. The important part of this is that at the bottom of our perimeter fence is an electric wire, and this prevents predators from digging under to come in and eat lamb. And we haven't been able to have that on because the weeds and grass has grown up too much around it and impedes the electrical current, which makes the whole fence weaker. So the way the fence is designed is you can turn off that bottom wire in the event that the grass gets out of control. And then, you know, that just sends all the juice to the top wire and, you know, anywhere where we have paddock fences. I mean, it's September 1st, but we still, I mean, grass will grow for another 2 months here. So, you know, so we figure we might as well. So we are going to mix up the herbicide now in these packs, and then we'll head out in the Ranger. It's going to be a circus. Ready. I guess just like stir to the right, or yeah, stir to the right.
You want to go along this interior fence, or?
Yeah, we may as well. I don't think I've ever filmed up here, but this is our hay field. So all the plastic wrap bales get made off of this field, and it is looking really lovely right now, filled with red clover. We're not going to take another cutting off this. We are going to spread manure on it. Here's another old apple tree right here. It's got some fruit on it. I got some footage of this same tree earlier in the season. It was totally loaded, so the deer have been definitely working it over. And then right there is the bigger pond on the property. Chris is still working away at getting this fence back upright. I never work on hot fence. I always go back to the barn and turn it off. He's just tougher than me. I don't know what to say. Okay, I am back at the barn to refill one of these. We got most of what we needed to get done. We're just gonna do this last, this field behind the house. I do want to talk about using herbicides. This is not something that we do lightly. I don't like doing it. At the old farm, we resisted it for actually the entire time we were there. I don't know that we ever sprayed our fence lines there. At the old farm, we had different fencing, and the bottom strand, I think, was about 9 inches from the ground. So Chris, who is the most patient person in the world, would mow. He would get the deck of the finish mower under that bottom wire, and then he would go in and out of the fence posts to mow that, and it took a huge amount of time and a huge amount of effort on his part. Yeah, so Chris mowed it a couple times a year. This fencing goes all the way to the ground, so we can't get the mower deck under it. And so this is our only option. We knew that when we installed it, and we weighed our options. We use a very, very small amount compared to like conventional agriculture. I don't love doing it. I have a smile on my face because I always smile like a goon whenever I'm doing something terrible. But it's what we have to do to keep our animals safe, and I don't know, so we do it. Alrighty, so we are done. With that job, it took longer than I thought, but I think it's still, well, I mean, it was the first time we did it, so we're kind of working out some kinks. And I just wanted to come over and look at the garden. We got a lot of rain yesterday, and we're forecasted to get more rain tonight and tomorrow. So hopefully these guys will be okay. Some of the strawberries have, it looks like they have rooted, and some have not. Oh, something's coming up over here. Shoot, I can't remember what. Radishes, I think. Okay, I'm going to turn you around and I'll show you the progress, however small it may be. Okay, so in here we've definitely got some sprouting. I think this is like chive. Oh, sage for this first foot, and then chive. So yeah, we've got some action going on here. So that is great news. These are baby radishes down here. Beets? I don't know. I have to look at the diagram. Sorry, I'm the worst. Okay, and then here is the new strawberry beds. You can see some are still green. Like this one looks like it rooted. This one right here, obviously looking less good. There's another one that's looking pretty good. The good news is that the strawberries continue to send out these runners to propagate themselves. Oh, there's a really good one. So I'll have more opportunities to plant them. Okay, and then here's the second new bed. There's something exciting. So that might be dill. It's late in the season to start dill, but I'm hoping with the low tunnels. And then these turnips are coming up a ton. So that is really exciting. Turnips are one of my favorite vegetables. All right. I think that's it for me. How come we're not focusing on me? What's going on? Okay, something happened there. That was weird. All right, if this is the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.